Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sunnydale Review. I'm Brian.
I'm Jillian.
Jillian, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing quite well. I'm ready to get into some fun episodes.
Alrighty.
What are we covering today?
So today we are covering episodes 3 through 5 of season 3. So that is Faith, Hope, and Trick, Beauty and the Beast, and Homecoming.
Very nice. So let's just dive into it. Faith, Hope, and Trick.
All right. So Faith, Hope, and Trick originally aired October 13th, 1998. It was written by David Greenwald and directed by James A. Cottner.
All right. So very important episode for the history of Buffy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Got introductions of a couple new characters, and yeah, it's a good episode. So let's see. Buffy's friends are all now seniors and are allowed to eat lunch off campus.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy has had too much time on her hands and has a whole picnic set up for them for lunch.
Right.
They're making an effort to spend time together since Buffy isn't allowed on school property.
Right. Which I think is nice of them.
Yeah. And plus they get free food because Buffy brought them food.
True. Very true.
We learned that Joyce is still trying to get Buffy back into public school.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So we get the introduction of Scott Hope, a boy who apparently went to school with Buffy and had a crush on her.
Mm-hmm.
Willow kind of points him out, and they think it's time for her to get back into the dating game.
Right.
So let's see. We also get the introduction of Mr. Trick, who is a new vampire and arrives in Sunnydale. Buffy has a dream about dancing with Angel at the Bronze while her friends watch. While dancing, her clatter ring, so that's the ring that Angel gave her for her birthday last season. The whole, like, if you wear it with the heart pointed towards you, it means you belong to someone, blah, blah, blah. So she has, like, in the dream, her ring falls off. Angel picks it up and starts to bleed from the chest where Buffy ran him through with the sword. He tells Buffy to go to hell. So not a great dream.
No.
Let's see. Snyder allows Buffy to come back to school under the condition that she meet with the school counselor. So we see Buffy returns to school. She goes to the library. Giles starts asking her about what happened with Angel and Akatha. They want to make sure that Akatha is bound so he will not open the portal again. Buffy gives him the cliff notes, basically tells him that she stabbed Angel, Akatha sucked him into hell, and didn't suck the entire world into hell, and that was it. She doesn't mention that Angel's soul was restored before he was sent to hell.
Right.
Which is very important.
Yes.
Willow reveals to Giles that she's been studying magic a little bit since the spell to restore Angel's soul. He didn't know she'd been researching into it more. Although this really shouldn't surprise him because she was researching like dark magic and stuff even before they did the spell to restore Angel's soul. So
yeah, he should have assumed.
Yeah. Let's see. Buffy's hanging out with her friends at the Bronze when she sees a man and a woman dancing. She suspects that the man is a vampire. So when they head out of the bar, Buffy follows, thinking she's going to have to save the woman. She finds the woman beating up the guy and staking him.
Yes.
Turns out that Buffy's instincts were right and he was a vampire, and the woman is actually introduced as Faith.
Yeah.
So Faith is a new Slayer.
Yeah, as Oz says, I think there's another Slayer in town.
Yeah. So this goes back in one of the earliest videos that you and I recorded. You had said something about, but if Kendra died, then another Slayer wouldn't be called, right? Because Buffy is still a Slayer. Right. And I just looked at you like, what on earth are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, since Kendra died, another new Slayer was called. Buffy died, Kendra was called, but then Buffy was brought back to life. But since Kendra died, Faith has been called.
Yeah.
Which I think it's interesting, like I do wonder, just because of what we learn about the Watchers Council, if they had known that this was like a possibility where if you kill a Slayer but then don't actually bring her back and it would call another Slayer, like I have to assume that the Watchers Council did not know this was a thing, because I feel like they would have taken it upon themselves to like intentionally temporarily kill the Slayer
Yes.
to thus spawn more Slayers.
100%.
Yeah.
It's not a horrible plan other than you have to like drown people, but hey, isn't that part of some training for like the military, like Navy SEALs or something?
Is it?
I thought maybe I'm just making this up.
That sounds horrible. Are you thinking about like Game of Thrones when they do the whole drowned god thing?
Hopefully not.
I don't know.
Well,
Intentionally killing someone, even like temporarily, is never a good thing. Let's just leave it at that. Is there real-time research going on
yeah.
here? What did you Google?
Do Navy SEALs intentionally drown themselves during training? No, I'm just getting a lot of accidental deaths during Navy SEAL training results. I forget I said that.
Okay, let's not try to start that rumor. So,
Yeah, I heard. So God said it. I heard it.
So anyway, we learn a little bit more about Faith through a conversation that she has, kind of introducing herself to the Scoobies. Faith, we learn, is kind of a very sexual person and not ashamed about it.
No.
She tells the group stories about her slaying vampires, sometimes with clothes, sometimes without.
Yes.
Oz asks her what her position is on werewolves, and she's like, as long as you don't bite me or try to hump my leg, we're cool. He's just like, okay, cool.
Yeah. She's also from Boston.
Yes.
Very cool. Represent.
Yeah. And you can tell from like the accent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
actually,
she says wicked, right?
Huh?
Doesn't she say wicked at some point?
Yeah, she does. But also in real life, Elijah Dushku is currently living in Boston.
Hell yeah. It's really cold here.
It really is.
If I was her, I would go somewhere warmer during the winter.
She's either soon going to have or has already had a baby.
Oh,
she got married like last year or something.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Elijah Dushku, for those of you who don't know, is the actress who plays Faith. So.
Yes. And she's fucking awesome. That's Faith.
She is. She's amazing. Have you seen Dollhouse yet?
I have not yet, but we will cover it eventually in the far-flung future.
You gotta watch Dollhouse. It's so good. It only lasted 2 seasons, but I mean, that doesn't mean anything because Firefly was amazing. It only lasted a season and a movie. So
yeah, and she's the main character of Dollhouse, correct?
She is.
Yeah,
she is.
Cool.
So let's see. Anyway, so Buffy and Faith head to Giles. Faith says that her Watcher is on the Watcher's retreat, so she headed to Sunnydale to meet Buffy, as they're the only 2 Slayers in the world. So Faith says to Buffy about Giles, if I had known they come that young and cute, I would have requested a transfer. And Buffy says, raise your hand if ew. And Xander and Buffy both raise their hands. Willow doesn't, which I think is adorable.
Willow, she knows what's up.
I have a question in my notes about why didn't Giles get invited to the Watcher's retreat? Clearly, this isn't the thing.
He has the same question.
Yeah.
He's not happy about it.
So let's see. We meet Mr. Trick's boss, a demon named Kokistos. He has a vendetta against Faith. I think it's stated that like Faith did like the scars that are on his face or whatever. So Faith goes to the Summers house for dinner. Joyce suggests that maybe Faith could take over for Buffy. Buffy lets it slip that you only get a new Slayer when the old Slayer dies. So Joyce realizes that Buffy hasn't told her everything because she didn't know Buffy had died.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of a hard conversation to have. Yes. Oh, and by the way, Mom, as part of this whole Slayer thing, I died.
Yeah, just for a little while, though. It's for like a minute. It doesn't count.
Yeah. Just a minute. So let's see. There's a subplot about Buffy and Scott Hope. He tries numerous times to ask her out throughout the episode, but she keeps blowing him off. He tries to give her a friendship ring. It's a clattering. She gets freaked out because of the connection with Angel. So
understandable.
See, Giles finds out that Faith's Watcher is not on the Watcher's retreat. He's actually dead.
Yeah.
And tells Buffy. Buffy tries to talk to Faith about the fact that her Watcher's dead, and Faith gets freaked out, starts packing to leave town. As they try to leave her hotel room, Kisto shows up. Faith is terrified of him and like loses her steam, her Slayer powers. She becomes just very scared. So she and Buffy have to work together to slay Kistos.
So pretty cool. Like team up. Really tragic that because I mean we saw in the last season where Giles gets tortured and almost dies, and Buffy's worried about that, and then we see what could have happened on the other side of that, where Face Watcher actually dies, and of course Buffy had another Watcher who died, and so she can relate.
Yeah. So let's see. Giles is assigned to watch over Faith and Buffy until Faith can be assigned a new Watcher. Buffy finally reveals that Angel's soul was restored before he was sucked into hell. Willow asks Giles if she can help with the binding spell for Akathla, but Giles reveals that there is no spell. And he just, was... I think that in a way he knew that the soul must have been restored because Willow said that she thinks that the spell worked.
Yeah.
In a way, I think that Giles wanted to know if it truly did work, if it worked before Angel was sent to hell. And also as a way to help Buffy get that kind of off of her chest. And to get her to, reveal everything that happened, because there was that whole communication issue that was happening in the last episode.
Right.
So let's see. Buffy tracks down Scott Hope and accepts his date proposal. That night, she returns to the mansion and leaves Angel's clatter ring. Her way of saying goodbye and symbolically trying to leave him behind and move on. Buffy leaves the mansion, and the show fades to black, so you think it's over, but it's not over yet. A bright light appears and drops Angel naked and cowering onto the ground in the mansion.
Right.
And that is how the episode ends.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I know it's probably hard, and it was probably much harder back then, but and I know he pops up his dreams and stuff, but the fact that David Boreanaz was still in the intro was so annoying. Supposed to be dead, but I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think that's a fair point. I mean, I didn't notice it, and watching the episodes back to back, basically like I did when I was originally watching this season, I don't think it hit me as hard. Because, I mean, he died the end of last season. We're now at episode 3, and he's already back.
Right.
So he really wasn't gone for that long, but I have to imagine that that for people watching this in real time, where you did have that, months and months and months separation between when season 2 ended and when season 3 picked up, and not knowing if Angel was dead or alive, seeing him in the opening credits was probably a kind of telltale sign.
Yeah. But anyways, that aside, this episode's great. I love Faith so much. One of my all-time favorite characters. I gave this one a 7 out of 10.
I did as well. 7.
Yeah. And I think that's where it goes. It's really strong. Faith is just such a great new addition to the cast, and she gets her own little arc in this episode where she's able to get revenge on the demon that killed her Watcher. And get some redemption there. So yeah, would you say watch it?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's the important introduction of Faith. Also introduces Mr. Trick, who shows up multiple times, and it explains Angel's return. So definitely a watch for me.
Awesome. All right, so what do we have next?
So next we have Beauty and the Beasts. It originally aired October 20th, 1998, written by Marty Noxon and directed by James Whitmore Jr.
All right, let's get into this one. Beauty and the Beast.
I don't love this episode, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I still have 2 full pages of notes on it, but I don't love this episode.
You're a professional.
So let's see. Willow is babysitting Oz in his werewolf form while he's locked in the book cage of the library. Xander comes in to take over and promptly falls asleep.
So you really Xander's this.
Yeah. Buffy and Faith are out patrolling. Buffy is telling Faith about her relationship with Scott Hope. She likes him, but seems kind of withdrawn. She's still protecting herself after what happened with Angel and doesn't want to jump into anything too quickly. Faith starts asking her if she's physically attracted to him and tells Buffy that with all guys, it's all about the chase. Buffy tells that to Willow the next day. Willow doesn't agree that with guys, it's all about the chase. I think
Faith and Willow could not be more different when it comes to that.
Faith is very much a physical person, where Willow is much more emotional.
Yes, definitely.
So let's see. We meet Scott's friends Pete and Debbie. Let's see. So Passion of the Nerd, who I love and quote almost every video.
Gotta get him shout out each episode.
I mean, I want to at least, like, I don't know, cite my sources.
Yeah, no,
but
of course.
He pointed out something really meaningful in this scene where it's Pete and Debbie, Buffy and Scott, and then Willow and Xander, because apparently Oz is friends with Debbie. So there's, like, these people all interconnectedly know each other.
Right.
But, like, not well, but there's, like, at least one person in each who knows somebody from the other group. But there's something really meaningful in the scene where the 3 couples are interacting, because Pete has his arm around Debbie, representing, like, possession. Willow and Oz are holding hands, representing partnership, and Scott and Buffy are just kind of standing side by side. They haven't decided what type of relationship they have yet.
Right.
But I think that's just really interesting, like, reading into the body language of these 3 couples who are clearly in different kind of stages and different relationship styles.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, of course.
So let's see. The Scoobies learn that there was a murder that could have been the result of a werewolf attack. While Xander fell asleep, they can't say for sure that it wasn't Oz. Let's see. Buffy goes to meet with the school therapist, Dr. Platt. This was a condition from Snyder of her being let back into school, is that she had to meet with the counselor. So I guess he's like a counselor / therapist. She's like able to talk.
Like a cool therapist who smokes.
Oh, yeah.
And
he smokes in the school with the windows closed.
And is
it's the 90s.
Yeah.
Even in the 90s, though, I can't see that being allowed.
Right. And shout out, this is Phil Lewis, the actor from Scrubs and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's a little weird. He's the guy who played Mr. Mosby on Sweet Life? Yeah.
Probably what he's most well known for. But I always have a special place in my heart for playing Hooch on Scrubs.
So let's see. So Buffy is able to talk to Mr. Platt about Angel, but like in metaphor.
Yeah.
So she's able to talk to him in like loose terms about what she went through with Angel because of how the show is built on metaphors. Like, it sounds like it could have been something that happened in like a regular relationship. She just kind of leaves the supernatural aspect of it out.
Right.
So she was like, I had a boyfriend. We loved each other very much. We slept together, and then he got really mean, and yeah. So let's see. Buffy catches up with the Scoobies and finds out about the murder, and then it might have been Oz. They decide to have Faith watch Oz that night. Oz is upset, and he, it's like, you think I'm so dangerous that you have to put a Slayer on watch for me? And
Oz, yes. Sorry, but yeah.
So Oz gets upset. He tries to leave, but Willow stops him. And I love Oz's line about how him leaving is dramatic, but it's a necessary guide thing.
Yeah.
But then Willow points out the time, and Oz makes the tough decision to lock himself up instead of doing the dramatic necessary guide thing. But like he's upset with Willow, and I don't know if he's upset with Willow or if he's just upset in general and doesn't want to take it out on Willow, so he tells Willow to get away from him.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I mean, it must be horrible. You don't know if you killed somebody. Like,
yeah,
like, oh, he's such a nice guy. So
yeah. So let's see. That night, Buffy's out patrolling. When she runs into Angel with blood on his mouth. He doesn't seem to recognize Buffy and instead attacks her. He seems like feral. So she knocks him out and brings him back to the mansion and chains him up. There she also discovers the scorch marks on the floor from where he came through the portal.
Right. So it has to be a very jarring situation for Buffy.
Oh, yeah. She thought he was dead. She thought he was gone and never coming back.
She was just starting to get over it.
Yeah, right?
Not over it, but past it.
She's like, I was literally here last night. I left the ring, and now you're back? What?
Terrible timing.
Let's see. Willow, Xander, and Cordelia go to the morgue to examine the body of the person who was attacked to try to determine if it was Oz who killed him or not. Willow is able to hold her cool the entire time, driven by her desire to prove Oz innocent, but as soon as she's done, she passes out. So like, as soon as she's done proving that it wasn't Oz, she's just like, okay, goodbye.
Oh, man.
It's okay. Xander and Cordelia catch her, so she's fine. Buffy asks Giles what would happen if someone who spent hundreds of years being tortured in a hell dimension were to come back. She doesn't bring up Angel's name specifically. Giles says it would take someone of extreme will and character to survive and retain any sense of any semblance of self.
Right.
Most likely the person would become a monster. Giles says there are two types of monsters: those who want to be redeemed and those who are devoid of humanity and don't respond to reason or love.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so they're basically saying that Angel like fought his way out of hell. Which is pretty badass. But yeah, I can see that taking a toll.
So let's see. Buffy has lunch with Scott, Pete, and Debbie. Buffy says that she likes the school therapist, Mr. Platt, and Debbie mentions that she doesn't like the things he says. Pete takes notice of this. He takes notice of the fact that Debbie's going to speak to the therapist and she doesn't like him. Buffy goes for her session with Mr. Platt and discovers that he's been murdered in the school, clearly fast enough that he didn't even drop his cigarette.
Yep.
She goes back to the mansion to check on Angel, who is still chained up, thus proving that he didn't kill Mr. Platt. Oz is also proven innocent since Mr. Platt was killed during the day. So they know it's not Oz, either of those two.
But yeah.
We see that Pete has been experimenting with a potion or serum that makes him stronger. It just has the side effect of causing him to lose control when he gets angry and turning him into a monster. Yeah. He actually beats Debbie, giving her a black eye, and she ends up comforting him to calm him down and turning him human again. Yeah. So this is very the metaphor for this is based on very abusive relationships.
Yep. Not good. And steroids a little bit, maybe. It's the whole roid rage thing, which I don't know if that's real necessarily, but I don't know. It's a bad situation she's found herself in.
Oh, for sure. So let's see. Pete sees Oz and Debbie talking later that day. Oz is trying to offer help to Debbie as he can see her black eye and knows that Pete did something to her. Buffy and Willow confront Debbie about the black eye. She admits that that it was Pete and that he's connected to the murders. She blames herself, says that she makes him angry and drives him crazy, but she's afraid to help him because he would be taken away. And she feels like she could never do that to him. So it's the victim trying to protect her abuser.
Right.
Let's see. Back at the mansion, Angel breaks free of his chains. That night, while Oz is locked up in the book cage, Pete tries to go and confront Oz because he thinks Oz made a move on Debbie. He breaks Oz out of the book cage and tries to kill him, but the moon has risen enough that Oz transforms into a werewolf and they start to fight.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got a line kind of like time's up, rules change,
Yep.
which is kind of awesome. Let's see. Buffy tries to knock out Pete with the trank gun, but in an attempt to protect Pete, Debbie pushes her and she ends up shooting Giles instead. Oh my god.
You gotta think it's a pretty serious gun, considering it can take out a werewolf, you know?
Yeah, Giles is gonna get a good night's sleep tonight. He's not waking up anytime soon. So Werewolf Oz takes off from the library and Faith and Willow go after him, eventually shooting him with the trank gun. Buffy chases Pete from the library, but he's too fast and takes off back to his evil science lab closet-looking thing. Debbie is there waiting for him, and Pete is angry with her for talking to Buffy and ends up killing Debbie. Buffy finds Debbie's dead body, starts to fight with Pete. Angel breaks in, saves Buffy, killing Pete with the chains that are still stuck to his wrists. So he ended up like breaking the actual chain that chained him to the wall in the mansion, but he still is carrying around these big loops of chains.
Right.
And he ends up killing Pete with one of those. I'm sure there's some sort of symbolic thing you could read into that.
Yes, I'm sure.
Let's see. Angel walks up to Buffy, transforming back into his human face because he had vamp face on before, and he recognizes Buffy. He hugs her, and she clearly is amazed, but also conflicted. She just stands there and lets him hug her, like around her waist. So clearly it took him a minute, but he's not like the feral.
Right.
He's not in that feral state anymore. Things are starting to come back to him, and he's starting to realize where he is. The next day, Buffy talks to Scott, who is obviously upset because his two best friends are dead. He says that he's gonna be okay, and I have in my notes, dude, you just said how you've been friends with both of them since before you started school. You're allowed to take some time to grieve.
Right.
He's like, yeah, it's too bad. You know, I've been friends with them for a long time. Now they're both dead. I'll be okay.
Yeah, such is life.
Best friends ever. So, Debbie and Pete now join Jesse in the best friends ever. We'll never mention them again.
Right.
And the episode ends with Buffy watching over Angel as he sleeps on the floor in the mansion.
So, yeah. What'd you think of this episode?
In my rating on my notes, I gave it 7. Honestly, I think it deserves more of like a 6.
Yeah, 6.
It's a toss-up for me. Because the episode has some good Angel redemption moments, and no one writes Oz quite like Marty Noxon.
Right.
But overall, it's a little bit more of a Monster of the Week-esque episode.
Yeah. No doubt. Like I said, gave it a 6 myself, and yeah. What episode are we talking about next?
Next episode and the last of this video is Homecoming, Season 3, Episode 5.
All right, let's talk about Homecoming.
All right, it originally aired November 3rd, 1998, and written and directed by David Greenwalt.
Yes.
So, the Scoobies are discussing homecoming plans. Buffy and Scott's relationship has progressed since the last episode. There are smoochies now. Willow had a line back in season 2 when she was wanting Oz to, like, when she was wanting to get together with Oz, she's like, I just want smoochies. Yes. So now that's just what I call it. Buffy's clearly wondering, like, who she would rather go with, either Scott or Angel. Important to point out at this point that Buffy is the only one of the Scoobies who knows that Angel's back.
Right.
She hasn't told anybody else yet. Let's see. At the mansion, Angel is acting a bit more like his old self. He wears shirts now and can communicate better, but clearly still has some PTSD from his time in the Hell Dimension and is very jumpy.
Right.
Buffy admits to him that she hasn't told anyone that he's back yet. Angel clearly remembers and feels remorse for what he did to Giles back at the end of last season. So question for you, Ryan. What do you think about Buffy's decision not to tell her friends that Angel was back?
Whew. It's tough because obviously they're not going to be thrilled that he's back. By the end of it, no one was a fan of Angel, so I get it. I don't know if it's the right decision, but I get it. What about you?
So keeping in mind that, because this kind of plays into the lie that Xander told Buffy, where he said that Willow said kick his ass, when Willow, the real message was, we're going to try again to restore Angel's soul.
Yeah.
So if Buffy thinks that at that point the whole team had turned against Angel, which is, again, fallout from the lie that Angel said, I understand her decision to not tell her friends.
Right.
I understand her decision to not tell them at the beginning when she thought that maybe he was feral, because she might have been forced to decide, you know, if he was feral and dangerous, she might have been forced to decide to kill him again.
Right.
And for good this time, like straight up stake him. Once she realizes that, yes, his soul was restored, yes, he's, you know, he's regaining who he was before, you know, he still has some of this PTSD stuff and, you know, whatever. I don't know. I feel like I'm always going to land on the side of she should have, like, confided that information in her friends. Maybe start out with, you know, Willow.
Right. That'd be the one.
Because Willow was on board with the plan to restore Angel's soul. Don't start out with Xander, because Xander was always anti-Angel. Right. Even when Angel was a good guy.
Right. Yeah, they don't get along.
No. But I don't know. I feel like I'm always going to have an issue when the Scoobies aren't communicating the way they should.
No, I get you. It's a very tough situation.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's see. Buffy tells Angel that she's dating Scott. Angel seems upset, and for some reason Buffy feels the need to, like, justify it and explain how Scott is so great. Which I think it's a little harsh, because she's like, you know, I'm dating this guy and, you know, he's great and he's so nice to me, and like I can see from her side she's like trying to explain, like, you know, you were gone and this guy's really good to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like Angel is getting to hear, I gave up on you. And also, I'm dating this new guy who's really great, and you weren't
dead.
really that
You're
great.
Dead. So,
yeah.
Buffy's not in the wrong here. I mean,
yeah, but of course she's explaining all this to Angel, and, you know, saying about how he's so great and so nice to her, and blah blah blah. And then there's like a sweeping shot to the next day, and it's Scott breaking up with Buffy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, that's not ideal.
No.
So yeah, let's see. There's a creepy van with two guys watching Buffy at school. They're transmitting, like, video of Buffy to Mr. Trick and, like, some older dude. We finally get to meet the mayor. So new character right there, yes, who we've been hearing about for a while.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll be important.
Let's see. Faith is standing in for Giles and helping Buffy train. Buffy is taking out her frustrations about the breakup, and Faith says the guy should break up with her more often.
I love Faith so much.
She's a little bit jaded. Let's see. Cordelia is running for homecoming queen. The Scoobies forget to tell Buffy that it's picture day, and Buffy misses it.
Oh, yeah.
So Buffy kind of realizes, like, I missed picture day. I'm not on any team. I'm not in any club. I'm not, you know, really involved. There's not going to be a picture of me in my yearbook.
Oh.
Which is, it's awful.
Also weird you can't submit pictures.
Huh?
Also weird that you can't submit pictures.
Well, they're running senior picture day like any other yearly picture day. Right. It's not like at least for my high school, we had to go to, like, this special photography place and, like, get our senior portraits taken. It wasn't just like one day they set up a backdrop in the gym.
Yeah, no. For ours, you could just submit a picture.
No.
Yeah, I did have a friend who tried to, you know, when you, like, make a Facebook profile especially back in like 2011. There's like just like a standard outline picture on there. She tried to submit that as her senior picture, and they did not let her. She also went to every single picture for every club picture, so she's in every club picture, even though
was she not actually in those clubs?
No.
But they let her in the picture?
Yeah. She's just very good at, getting whatever she wanted.
So she wanted to submit a picture that didn't have her face in it for her standalone picture,
right.
But then went and stood in for every single club.
Yep. And followed the photographer around when he was going around the school during the year and would get into so many pictures. She's on almost every page of our yearbook.
She wanted to be on every page except for
her
the
own
one
picture.
place where her picture should have been.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Very funny girl.
That's kind of amazing. Let's see. So Buffy needs a faculty recommendation as part of her conditions from Snyder for being left back into the school.
Right.
But her favorite teacher doesn't remember her.
Oh, brutal.
And I remember Snyder saying something about the faculty recommendation cannot come from the librarian.
Damn it.
So yeah, Buffy is afraid that her senior year is passing her by and she has no role in the school, so she decides to take on Cordelia for homecoming queen. She tries to enlist her friends to help, but they have all agreed to help Cordelia because Cordelia got there first.
Right.
So Passion of the Nerd points out that a big part of this episode is made to show how isolated Buffy is from the rest of the school. She wants the recognition from her classmates, but is bound to secrecy due to her role as the Slayer. Which is fair.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Mr. Trick has assembled a group of bounty hunters to try to kill Buffy and Faith on homecoming night. Xander and Willow are getting dressed for the dance together, but their hormones take over and they start kissing. They realize very quickly how wrong it was, since they're both in committed relationships to other people, being Oz and Cordelia. This isn't completely out of the blue, as we've known about Willow's crush on Xander for like a long time, and there was evidence of Xander having feelings for Willow back at the beginning of season 2. I think it's a great example of fans seeing something they've wanted for so long and being happy they're finally seeing it, but also being left with this kind of icky feeling because the characters are in these separate functional and committed relationships.
Yeah, it's like, this is not good, actually.
Yeah, no,
it's not what I wanted.
Yeah. Let's see. Buffy and Cordelia both make a big effort to try to give votes to the school. It's interesting how they seem to use similar tactics. As we saw back toward the end of last season, Buffy was very similar to Cordelia back when she was at her old school in LA. We also saw them bond and have similar tastes back in the series premiere.
Right.
Clearly, Cordelia has been campaigning longer and even reached out to the Scoobies for help before Buffy. So it's interesting to see how similar the strategies are. Let's see. The gang tries to mend things between Buffy and Cordelia by scheming to get them to ride in the limo together to the dance, hoping they would talk things out and mend their friendship. Buffy was supposed to be riding with Faith, but it ends up being just her and Cordelia in the limo.
Right, because they were going to go together, Faith and Buffy.
All right. So the limo driver brings the limo to the middle of nowhere in the woods, and a TV turns on in the limo, which introduces Buffy and Cordelia to Slayer Fest.
So cheesy, but hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It's very like Saw, too.
I've never seen Saw, so you're going to have to explain that.
Like little camera introductions to whatever the trap is, and how the game, and how to try to win it.
Let's see. So the bounty hunters have been assembled to try to take out both Slayers, but with the last-minute switch of Faith and Cordelia, Buffy must now protect Cordelia while trying to keep herself safe and escape or defeat the bounty hunters.
I like too how Cordelia's like, can I just like not be involved? I'm not actually the Slayer.
She's like, I wasn't supposed to be here. Can I just like not?
So Cordelia.
No. Let's see. Buffy and Cordelia escape the limo. They end up in an abandoned cabin.
Yeah. Also, we should mention 2 of these bounty hunters we've seen already. We have Lyle, right? The one of the
Hmm.
vampire brothers, and then the werewolf hunter guy is one of them.
Oh, is the werewolf hunter guy one of them?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't think I had made that connection before. I know that one of them was one of the two brothers from Bad Eggs. It's
Yes.
the one that didn't get eaten by the mother demon there.
Right, right. So yeah, that's a little fun, like come back around.
Yeah. Except the vampire from Bad Eggs now has a girlfriend, so the two of them are working together.
Yeah.
A vampire girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Buffy and Cordelia have a heart-to-heart in the abandoned cabin. Buffy confesses that she wanted to win homecoming queen so she'd be able to open a yearbook someday and show that she was in the high school and had friends, and for a minute she had a normal life. Since she missed picture day, there might not be a picture of her anywhere in the yearbook.
Mm.
At the dance, Willow and Xander are acting really awkward toward each other since their little unintentional makeout session. Let's see. Oz is in the band that's playing up on stage, and Giles is excited to and is waiting to see if Buffy wins, while also being a chaperone for the dance.
Right.
But he's just like, "Oh, this is very exciting. I really hope she wins." He's like that super proud like father figure. Yep. Let's see. Faith sees Scott Hope there with another girl and pretends that they were together and got STDs to ruin his night.
Faith, good friend, confirmed.
Oh, yeah. She's like, "Oh, honey, yeah, I just heard from the doctor. He said that we need to use the cream, that the itching should stop in 3 to 5 days.
Love it.
I have in my notes, I'm not sure where this stands on the moral or publicly acceptable scale, but the phrase sisters before misters comes to mind.
I think it's great.
This
I
might
think
just
Faith
be
is a good friend.
of Huh?
I said, I think it's good. I think Faith is a good friend for doing this.
Yeah. Sometimes I think I'm funny in my notes.
I thought it was funny.
Let's see. Buffy and Cordelia make it back to school. They take out one more of the group of bounty hunters. Cordelia intimidates a vampire, makes him goes away. It makes him go away. It's awesome.
Right.
He goes up to her. He's like, "I'm gonna," and she's like, "I'm gonna what?"
Oh man.
Do not mess with Cordelia. Oh. They end up figuring out that their corsages were bugged by another pair of bounty hunters, and they like somehow end up pulling out the bugs out of their corsages because they're like, that's how some of the bounty hunters are tracking them.
Right.
And they attach them to toilet paper and basically make like giant spitballs, and then manage to attach one to each of the 2 bounty hunters who are tracking them with those and cause them to shoot each other through a wall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's cool.
It is. It's just like, okay. Buffy and Cordelia make it to the dance, bloody and dirty, just in time to find out that neither of them won homecoming queen.
Right. Some rando.
Yeah, I have no idea who it is. And the mayor meets Mr. Trick and recruits him to work for him.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, good for Mr. Trick. He always landed on his feet.
Yep. So as far as a watcher pass for this one, personally, this one's a bit of a pass for me. It's a good episode, but it's like a little bit of standalone in the overall universe. You get a little bit more insight into Buffy's alone, not really part of the high school, but it's not like new information.
Right.
There's a first kiss between Willow and Xander, but that's really the only like surprising thing in this episode. I also have in my notes, for some reason this episode always makes me think of Vampire Diaries, probably because it's a school dance episode, and Vampire Diaries had literally so many school dance episodes.
Really?
They had it seems like they had like 3 or 4 a season. It's like nothing's ever going on at the high school. They barely ever go to class, but there's a school dance every month. But anyway, overall, I gave it like 6 steaks.
Oh, I gave it a 6 as well. We're on the same page today.
Nice.
Yeah, enjoyable, but not necessary.
Yeah.
And
so that is the last episode for this video.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Jill, where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Jillian_Swan, and that's Swan with 2 N's. I barely ever use my Twitter. I may start using it more. I haven't decided yet. But hey, reach out to me on there and say hi. And you can also occasionally find me over on Twitch at Grassblock UK on their channel. I'm either, having fun with them or at least poking fun from the chat. So
check them out. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow me at the Fake BMAR. That's BMARR. The channel is on Twitter at WG Everything, on Instagram at Wicked Good Everything, on Twitch at twitch.tv/Wicked Everything. Main channel, of course, youtube.com/Wicked Everything. This channel, once we get to 100 subscribers, we'll have Wicked Good Podcast. But for now, you gotta search it or be subscribed, ring the bell, rate us on iTunes, tell your friends, family, anyone who likes Buffy, and we'll see you in the next episode. The Sunnydale Review is a Wicked Good Everything production. The fan art of Buffy was created by Fishbone Art. The logo was created by Tamar Kutab. The original intro and outro song was created by Alex Carl.